Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Willkommen hier beim Filmfest München. Willkommen zu einem speziellen Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special talk. Today we're talking to one of the great masters of ensemble films, ensemble comedies, and really great successes from Italian cinema. Please give a big, big hand. We have him here. It's incredible. Paolo Genovese. And should we have something to translate, Simona Morani is also here with us to help us. So, but we're going to do this in English mostly. And as I just said, I mean, many of some of the great successes of Italian cinema recently, you did 13 films. And of course, German audiences, if I say Perfetti Sconosciuti or Das Perfekte Geheimnis in Germany as a remake, is one of the seminal films as a big audience success here in Germany. You are the most remade director, or the film is the most remade film in the whole world. So we have a world Guinness record holder here today in the room. So Paolo, it's great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Does it work? Yeah?
Yes.
You listen me? Okay, perfect.
So where should we start? Should we start at the beginning of your career or at the way you try to construct films in general? Because there are some key formulas, I would say, that you love to have. Big casts, for example. How do you want to start? More biographical?
We can start from the beginning. I start like a lot of filmmakers with short films. For me, short film was really, really important because it gave to you the opportunity to shoot a kind of film in a small version. And especially for me, my first short film marked all my career. I shoot a short called Neapolitan Spell. And this one was selected to Locarno International Film Festival. That for us is a very, very important film festival because your short is screening in this big square. Any one of us ever never joined to Locarno? It's the most, you? I suppose, yes. No, so you know, it's the biggest screening open air in the world, about 7,000 seats. And I was so happy and so emotional you can imagine. And because you say at the beginning of the main filming competition, so you have the audience of main filming competition, 7,000 people. And when the screening started, there was some kind of mistake with the projectionist. I don't know what happened. And all my short was out of focus. Oh, for me, I want to cry, imagine. But at the end of the festival, I won that festival. I won. And the jury motivation is for the brave to tell this story with the out-of-focus technique. And it was really funny. On the stage, the president of jury asked me, how do you have this idea? How? I don't know how. No, but really this is meaning a lot of me because I understand that to tell a story, it's a relative work. There is no good or bad idea. There is just idea. There is just your vision. And sometimes it's different from maybe your producer vision. But to have a vision about a story, I think it's a gift, and you have to protect anyway. And from that point on, I always protect my idea, my vision in any situation. So it was a good start for me.
But very generally speaking, you have one vision that you protect, but you never have just one vision of life. These are ensemble films many times. So you always try to capture as many sides of an existential situation or humanism or our deepest fears, our deepest emotions, desires.
Yes, mostly of my movie is a choral movie, because when I have an idea, I really need to tell from different point of view. I try in the past to have only two main protagonists, but I didn't like. I really need a team like First Day of My Life is person that decide to commit suicide. And when I start to work, I really need to have different point of view, because I think it's a more complex story.
Generally speaking, how do you develop your ideas? What comes first? What comes first? Something that you find in everyday life, a personal memory, dreams, whatever. What is it? What inspires you most?
I think it's really difficult to give an answer, because I really don't know how idea born. I really don't know. It's like, I don't know, when you go for tourists in some city, like me in Monaco this morning, you go out and you don't know exactly where you want to go. You go straight and go left and go right, then you arrive in some place, but you don't know exactly why you choose one road instead of the other. Maybe for my story, there is something that I really observe all around me, all that happen, and write a lot. Before in a block, now with the iPhone, it's easier. Everything that I like, some notes, some situations, some people that I meet, some stuff that I see. And then the idea make its shape. Usually is this, I really, for me it's really difficult to understand when the idea of a story really become an idea of a movie. Usually. For the first day of my life, for example, there is a moment, exactly moment. I don't know if you know the story of this movie, you know?
They will after tonight.
Okay. And the story of this movie started about 5 or maybe 6 years ago in San Francisco. And I saw a documentary, it's a very interesting one, called The Bridge. And this documentary director put a camera on the Golden Gate Bridge that it's suddenly famous for the number of suicide. And for 1 year, he shoot all the people that jump in the river, that commit suicide for 1 year. 2 camera, fixed camera. But what was really interesting is some interview of this director to the people that survive. And everyone that survived said that they pentire, come si dice?
They repented doing it,
Yeah.
basically. They
Pentiti.
sì, they really bereuen.
Say,
Regret.
regret.
Regret
good,
and
good.
repent. Yes, thank you.
All of all that people, they regret. In the 7 seconds from the jump to the river, you need 7 seconds. Everyone regret about this. And so I think also when you take a decision like this to stop your life, there is always a possibility of a second chance. And from this idea, I decided to start a story of some people that decide to commit suicide, but to understand if there is the opportunity to coming back, to feel happy again, and to start a new life. This is the story of the new movie.
But I mean, you first turned it into a book, didn't you?
Yes, really, first I wrote the subject, then I really want to tell that story. And to write a book, it's easier, not easier in terms of work, but in terms of realization. No? You don't have to have money, production, time, preparation. You need just a computer and a place where you can write. So I really want to tell that story. So start after the subject, I wrote a novel, and after a novel, we decide to make a movie.
It's interesting because if you portray it like that and start from the documentary, you would say, this is a negative movie. This is very, hard. But of course, this is very much about loving life, your film. And I think this is one key element of your cinema, that you always want to capture the full human experiences as far and deep into, deep ends or dead ends of people you go. You bring that back to life, and that's very much felt in this film, isn't it? So that's important to you.
Yes, really, this story starts from suicide, but it's a happy story, search of happiness. The first title, I think, for this movie was Happiness. Yeah, Happiness. Then in Italy there is a song, Happiness, so you can make them understand. But also, First Day of My Life is a positive title.
I would like to anyhow go back, before we talk more about the film, to what you said before. We live in times where what you said is kind of vanishing. You said you go out and then you don't know if you want to turn to the left or the right and see what happens. Now, I read just 3 days ago that Google Maps is changing our brains, because we don't do that anymore. We're not getting lost in the moment. So I would maybe like to ask you, how digital do you live, and how analog? How much is it important to, just go out for you? I suppose you do that every day and get inspired in that sense every day. Just go ahead.
Yes, for me it's really important to have free time. Right. A lot of time I go out without an idea of what I have to do. Just think, just meet people, just be around the city. And this is the same about when I write. For example, First Day of My Life, that the original story, the location is New York City. Now it's Rome for different reason, but the recent story is New York City. And I had the opportunity to went in Manhattan, New York City, just go around the city, sitting at cafe, and write in that city the story, without thinking about the location. This is also here there is my producer, Gianpaolo Letta and Marco Berardi. Where are you?
Wave.
Let's say hello, say hello. And thanks them, because when I said I would like to study to write a story in New York City, yes, okay, but I would like to go in New York City to write. And why? You can say in Rome. No, but because I need to inspire myself, go around the city, meet people. And they say, okay, thank you.
But the interesting thing is, then you transferred to Rome, and Rome is, of course, a place you know very much. So how would you say, inspired by New York, now in Rome, it's always a difficult story, it's a pandemic story, and of course, why these things change. But I would like to know how you can transfer that feeling that you found in New York to Rome.
But I think this is very helpful to write in New York City. I have to say this.
If you can write it there, you can shoot it anywhere?
Yes, now because I think every author, the dream of every author is to make an international movie. And for me now, international movie does not mean to shoot in English or to shoot abroad. International movie, for me, it's a story that should be understood everywhere. You also can shoot all inside an elevator and make an international movie. And to think in Manhattan is not United States, it's the center of the world, no? Help me and my screenwriter to think about an international story that everyone can understand everywhere. Then when we adapt to Rome, in the very first moment, it's not easy because no, you change Central Park with Villa Borghese, that is a garden in Rome. It's not so important like Central Park, but this story born really in an international context with international main character, and also Rome, I don't know who will see the movie, it's not the usually Rome that you have seen. We don't have Colosseum, we don't have St. Peter's, we don't have everything famous in Rome. It's just a big city with millions of people and this story. But for me, what it was important is that this story could happen everywhere. In Monaco, in Berlin, in Madrid, Spain, everywhere. And to write down thinking about an international context could be really useful.
You said it, universal is one trait of your cinema. How do you, I mean, no, let's go back one moment. I would like to know, because this inspiration to speak to the biggest audience possible, to basically potentially all of humanity, because these are very humane films. What inspired you to do that? You know, was it writing in the first place? Something that, because as an artist, you are inspired by an art that touches you first. Is it cinematic art? Was it literature? You know, that speaks to such, to all of us as humans. So how did you find out that you want to have this scope?
It's not important the number of people, but the soul of the story. Because usually, when I write a story, I always think about the effect of the story on the life of the audience. Not if the audience will love the movie, will like the movie. I don't care about this. I think an author don't have to care if audience will like the story. Anzi, maybe we don't have to give what we know that audience love, because it's the same story. But we have to give what the audience does not yet know could love. I don't know if it's clear. And so I don't think about this, but I think the effect. I think it's really important that a story has some effect to the audience, that you don't forget a few minutes after the finish of the movie. This is the reason why I always think about your audience, because the effect of my movie.
Is there a difference between drama and comedy for you?
Yes, it's a big difference. And I think comedy, it's really more difficult respect drama. Comedy is difficult because we have to split comic and comedy. Comic, I love comic, but you go to see a comic movie for laugh. And it's really important. And when you go out, if you have laugh 5 times, you are unhappy. You have the laugh 20 times, you are happy. And that's okay. Comedy, it's story about our life, our problem, our society. with a light point of view. And so you can laugh, but not for joke. You laugh for situation. You laugh because that story in deep speak about you, about your problem, your life, but in a light way. And when you finish a good comedy, you always take with you something, also something very deep, but comedy don't scare, no, the audience. It's a kind of cavallo di Troia, Trojan horse, okay? You arrive in a shape, and inside it take something more. So it's a reconstruction of the reality, really, really hard to do. It's hard to do a good comedy. Drama, it's not easy, obviously, but it's you have to just to observe, just to look carefully the reality. For example, when I write a story, and when I write a drama, if I have to write a scene where the audience have to cry, I am quite sure that audience will cry. In the comedy, when I to write a scene where audience have to laugh, I am absolutely not sure that the audience will laugh, because it's not easy.
By the way, I have to open 2 bottles, but just well, you named one turning point that made everything possible. That was, as you said, your first film. And which one would you like to talk about? Another turning point, the obvious one being possibly 2016. You know, like key elements. When would you say what was the next key moment for in your career before that and after 2002?
Maybe my turning point is Immaturi. That it was a comedy. It's my first movie with Marco and Giampaolo. It was really a big success in Italy, really. About, I don't remember, but 18 million euro around. And that was a really important turning point, but not for the money, not for the success also, but not all, only. But because when you realize a success, everyone believes in you, and you are free to tell the story that you want. And so I feel really lucky, because from the beginning, I always tell the story that I want. I share with my producer, but they always trust in me. Never say, no, I don't like this story, never. So I think Immaturi was my first turning point.
That's great producing. Give an extra hand to that, because it should always facilitate the creative vision, as you said. Yeah. Now the thing I mentioned in the introduction, you know, I Perfetti Sconosciuti, as you know, the German remake has also been insanely successful here. So the how do you feel about the remakes? By the way, have you seen the remakes? Because there are more than 20. Have you seen some of them at least, or some scenes from every remake?
No, I saw it's a 20. It's 23 remake. I saw about 10. 10. I feel not so comfortable. No, but it's normal, because from one side you are happy because there is some other director, some other producer that love so much your story and will shoot it again. But from the other side, everyone director change something. It's when you see a remake, it's your story, but it's not your story. There is something deep that you don't recognize, that you don't like, that it's different. I spend really a lot of time with this screen, with the script, which each word of the script, and someone cut a word, maybe, just a word, but maybe you have to think about 1 week for that word. And change a little the ending, change the tone of voice of the comedy. So it's a strange relationship with remake. You are happy, but you are unhappy when you see the remake. So after 10 remake and gastrite, I don't know so how you say, and I stopped to see the other one.
Okay.
But obviously it was really important because this movie, and so me, is very, very well known all around the world, and so we have the opportunity to export my movie abroad, to be invited to the festival like this. So I'm happy. At the end of all, I'm very happy about The Perfect Stranger.
One thing, of course, people cannot change is one key element of bringing together, as you said, different visions to great ensembles and with great ensembles. So that structure stays, and it is meticulously crafted in your films, and it has a certain set of actors or some that you very much like. I'm thinking, for example, about Valerio Mastandrea, and we're not in Italy now. You can say who's your preferred actor. That's a hard one,
like
of
to
course.
Say you love more mom and dad. It's not.
I know. It was a very, very bad question. No, but how do you decide about your actors, the wonderful ensembles?
I really, usually, I never think about an actor while I'm writing. I think it's a great mistake because the most important challenge when you write a script is to create a character, a new character. So if you think about an actor, the risk is that that character will be similar to the actor characteristic. And so I never think about the actor. And when I finish the script, start to think to the casting, because for me it's really important that the actor move to the character and not the character move to the actor. And in this way, it's possible to take the actor out of his comfort zone, no? Because, there is some actor here, actress, good, you are so young, so maybe you will. But sometimes, not always, actor and actress prefer to stay in his comfort zone. And when they have to change in some different character, it's not easy, I know, but this is the job of the actor, to be something different, respect himself. This is the reason why I always choose the actor, and sometimes I choose some actor really different, respect the character. For example, an actor that I use a lot of time is Marco Giallini. My first work with Marco Giallini is in a film called Tutta colpa di Freud. Is a character totally different from every work that he have done before. And this is, for me, it's very interesting for me, but also for the actor, for the actress. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. Another question that might strike you a bit funny. How can you do that with Tony Servillo? Because he's so charismatic, and he's such a character.
Tony Servillo is the most actor that I never work with. He is really an actor. He is really charismatic, but he respects so much this work that if he accepts a movie, he believes in you totally. He say, tell me what you want. And it's fantastic work with him. Also because he's really generous with all the other actors. He cares about everyone. And he don't think only about himself. No, it's fantastic. It's easy. It's not easy that he accept the work. When I met him the first time at his office, he had in his desk, I think it was my script, and it was his notes to the scripts. That it's it's bigger than my script. The note is more than the script. Okay, but so it's very it's work a lot before accept a script. But when he accept, it's easy to work with him. It's always prepared on set. He study everything, also the script of the other actor, also the line of the other actor.
Now he plays you could say, a mythical figure in your newest film, Il primo giorno della mia vita. He plays a facilitator, somebody, a mythical figure who helps the others to understand themselves. So my question would be maybe, how do you try to combine a certain realism of feelings with a certain magical trait or a fantastic trait in your films? It's never only mundane, of course, in your films, or often enough there's a magical trait, you could say. So how do you want to combine it? How important is that for you?
Sorry, but you didn't see the movie, so it's not easy to explain. But this story, it's about start again in life. And there is a man, a kind of angel, but it's not an angel. No, it's not an angel. I don't know who he is, really. Is what the audience want. Is what for the audience could help in our life. So a friends, a parents, a no man, an angel, if you believe in angel. And this is the reason why in this story there is some very realistic situation, but also very mystic situation, a little magic situation. But it's not a religious movie, because the reason why to continue your life is your life. These angels help these people to fall in love again with life, but never speaking about something after the life. So it's not a religious film. It's a realistic movie with a touch of magician.
And the general side of the question, why is that important to have that slight moment of magic? Is that one of the key elements that you would say that makes cinema stay with you? After, if you see a film and it has these magic moments, is that also very important to have the film stay with you after it ends and make you think on? And
yes, because this magic moment is a metaphor of life. And sometimes the metaphoric scene you can remember for a long time, because when a scene is a metaphoric, you have to understand which exactly is the metaphor. And so it's involve the audience to reflect about this scene. It's not absolute scene. The metaphoric scene is relative, and it's up to the audience to understand. I think it was Antonioni, but not sure. But I think Antonioni say, make to the audience 2 + 2. They will be happy. Don't say 4.
Yeah.
Let that aim make 2 + 2.
As with every film, it's with the audience that it suddenly becomes complete.
You have to involve the audience in a psychological mechanism and elaboration of what you want to say. If you say everything in a clear way, sometimes, not always, could be not so interesting. If it's the audience that understand what you want to say, could be more interesting and the audience is involved.
I haven't opened this up to you. I'm sorry. I got carried away. But if you have any questions about the film now or other films, please go ahead. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Grazie. First of all, at FILMFEST München, happy birthday, 40 years. Yeah, thank you. I really like your films, Genovese. Just wonder about this film. Do you have the feeling that nowadays many people are maybe a bit desperate and they're hoping for another chance? Maybe even like the political situation in Italy for the last years. Do you have the feeling that there's many people struggling a lot and they're hoping for a new chance? Is this something very actual? Are you feeling?
Yes, this film is very actual because it is about start again in your life. And now after pandemic, we all need to start again. But we are, it's happened because I wrote this script 5 years ago, before the pandemic. But I think that the greatness of an idea is not just the idea, but it's also the connection of the idea to the society. And in this moment, this story, it's really connected to the society. This work for all the story. For example, also the success of Perfect Stranger. I think Perfect Stranger, it's a good movie, not incredible, it's a good movie. No, the reason of a success is because in 2016, that story is really connected to the society. We need to speak about that problem. We really need to speak how technology and how our smartphone are changing our life. And so everyone that went to the cinema, when go out, say to each one, go to see that movie because speak about us, speak about this moment. And so the connection of the idea to the society, for me, it's really important. I'm really happy that we release First Day of My Life is this moment, because this is a moment in which every one of us think about restart, or new life, or happiness. We are asked to ourselves themes like this.
What stories do we need to think about now? You know, what kind of story is the next one you're chasing?
No, like I told you before, I really don't know. In fact, if my movie is always different. It's comedy, it's comic, it's comedy, it's dramedy, drama. The last one before this, Superheroes, was a sentimental drama. This is a kind of drama. I like change because for me it's very exciting to think different kind of story. I really don't know next one. I have 3 ideas.
3 ideas?
3 ideas.
Can you share any of these?
It's not possible, but like I told you, one of these is located in German, maybe. Well, and could be. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Why could it be located in Germany? Because you fell in love with Munich just yesterday, or when you arrived?
No, I can say this, but because it's.
Oh, yeah, a message to Germany. Yeah. I think it's very hard to comment on society and the times we're living in while we're living in. And I don't know if you would want to talk more about that, but we can definitely talk about the situation that cinema is in, because you're aiming for cinematic audiences for sure. People that are together in a cinema sharing their emotions. This is what our core mission as a festival, of course, is. We would never go digital. We want to be live. So how do you feel about cinema today and about the prospects of cinema?
It's a long story. No, we always talk about this, but we really change, our way to look to the cinema, and first of all, for the platform. We have big television, comfortable sofa, and thousand movie with just one click. So pandemian, but not only pandemian, the system, the platform change our way to see a movie. So I think cinema will survive in a smaller way, but now I think the author, we have to deserve the audience. It's up to us, no, for a part. It's up to us. We have to shoot the kind of movie that you really wanna see. We have to deserve your attention. And I think cinema will survive for a kind of movie, not all. And then it's also up to institution. It's very important start from the school to make some culture program that speak about cinema, theater, and music. And then it's also up to the cinema structure, because we have to update the screen, the audio system, the place, because cinema must be an experience, real more experience than the one at home. And I think we have everyone to improve the cinema, because especially in this moment, take 2 hours of our time, switch off everything, and let that someone tell to us a story. It's very important. Like when we was child with our mother. Now sometimes I see around a lot of people that see a movie on smartphone, start on the metro, finish at the bar during breakfast maybe, and it's okay maybe. Time is changing and it's okay. I'm not worried for this, but I worry that cinema will disappear. Sometimes we have to take a break and go and live this emotion, sharing with the audience. To share emotion with some other people, it's an amazing experience, I think.
So this might be the last chance to ask a question. Before having 2 social experiences, one in the cinema at the Astor, it's sadly sold out already, but also open air tonight. So you have the possibility of different cinematic experiences, but there's a question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was wondering, how, you were talking about vision before, or your vision that you have for your films and your projects. How do you portray that vision onto your crew and cast and your, let's say, your executive directors and your actors as well? Do you bring them along on the ride? Do you try to give them an image of what you see, of what you have in mind?
Really, I really involve so much everyone in the project. The crew, the actors, the producer, everyone. Before start the pre-production, I tell a story. I'm really happy about this work. You can see I'm enthusiastic about this work, and so also about the story. So I try to involve everyone. Everyone knows everything about my movie, and also during the shooting, I listen everyone, not only the actor, but also the DOP, but also the crew. Sometimes a good idea could come from everyone. I shoot a movie called Perfect Family, and we had a problem with a very important scene. We don't know what have to do. We have a problem. We can shoot in that way. And a gaffer, gaffer, had an idea. And fortunately, I listened this idea. And we shoot this idea, the gaffer idea, and maybe that was the best scene of all the movie. Really, it's amazing. For Marco and Gianpaolo, maybe does not know about this, but is the no, it's not in the set, but it's the scene in the square of Todi with Sergio Castellitto and the Christmas tree with the gift. You remember? That one was an idea that came from the gaffer on the set.
And your producer said, "You're a genius."
Genius. And so it's very important to share all your project, all your idea, because director is a very lonely work. You are only, it's lonely. Everyone asks to you everything. And if you share, you can have some good feedback, but most important thing that everyone feel involved in the project. Because at the end, there is the production on the billboard, there is the director, there is the actor, but all the other person that had worked so hard, there is no one knows. So what you can do is to let them feel important on the set. This is very important. And in this way, they give to you everything. Everything.
The last question is here in front. There's the microphone.
Thank you for everything you told us, and I'm curious to see Il primo giorno della mia vita. But my question now is, you talked about to share the vision with the audience, and have you remarked differences between audiences in Italy, in France, in the US, and how they see and receive a film?
I understand. No different, mostly, and I'm very happy about this, because usually, especially in this period with this movement, I'm going around for the presentation. I have been in Los Angeles, in Argentina, in Mexico, in China, Polonia, etc. And after the movie, usually there is some Q&A, question and answer, and the reaction is almost the same. It's almost the same. And for me, it's very important for what I said before, that this story is understood everywhere, almost in the same way. Obviously, there is some cultural difference respect the main theme. For example, in China, they feel a lot the problem of suicide. So there was more pathos in this Q&A. But it's almost the same everywhere.
So thank you so much for sharing so many insights with us. Paolo Genovese.
Thank you.